When it's your job to call the shots, you need to be able to make decisions anywhere, anytime. Don't let time and location stop you. Bluebeam Review, PDF-based collaboration solutions to work without limits.
Now, one other thing that I thought was it's really impressive is the artwork. I mean, you have wonderful food, wonderful service, but I mean, you don't normally see, fantastic contemporary art in a sports arena. I mean, tell me about the reasoning for that.
Well, people have always asked me, Bruce, do you collect art? And essentially, I don't collect art. People say, well, some of the fairly well-to-do, you collect art. I said, we don't collect art. I believe that really art should be open to the public. And so you will find that every large project this company does, or almost every project, there's an art component, a public art piece. And so it's very important to me. I've sat on the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. And so art's very important. And I think art's very important to people, and it's very important to expose to the public all kinds of art, contemporary art, pictures, photographs, and sculptures, and so on. So we decided very early on that art would be a very important part of it. And so we have some really beautiful artworks, some local artists, but some non-local artists. And we constantly add to it. This place has lots of opportunities for art. We started with about 4 or 5 pieces. Every year we add 1 or 2. We select 1 or 2 artists. We recently put one out on the open space on the plaza out there. And actually, there was one of the magazines said that this was the #1 public art place in the country in the world for the last year. So we're pretty happy about that.
The Atlantic Yards development is a massive development, and I guess, would you call this the crowning kind of piece, or would this sort of be the anchor or the jewel? How do you call this piece?
People will say today, this is the jewel, this is incredible. Just wait and see. You will see 15 buildings go up on this project, all by incredible architects, and it'll be a work of art, I believe. And when it's completed, just like this arena, people will say, this is extraordinary. You've got a lot of complaints and a lot of boo-birds out there early on who said, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, too crowded, too this. I think just in the same way that people want to embrace in this arena, they will see that the rest of this project will be something very special that Brooklyn can be proud of, the city can be proud of, and our country can be proud of. It is very important to make places where people live comfortable, special, and people don't really notice when things are gorgeous and nice. They notice they're gorgeous and nice, but they feel much better.
You know what that experience was like? For me, it was just this incredible experience, was coming up out of the subway with the architect in the dusk, and I guess there it is, right? It's a pretty magical experience, especially, let's say we came from New York or something, sure. Wherever you're coming from, that, you must be very proud of that kind of, that feeling. You like that feeling. That was very, very important. There are 2 aspects to it. One, the transit actually stop was across the street. So here, this is New York City. So we had to build a tunnel underneath and a brand new opening to get in and out of. And that, believe it or not, was $75 million to do that. To get the experience that you saw was a $75 million experience. My point is, we felt it was so important and so worth it. The actual facility that is the subway stop that you come out of is different than any one in New York. The Transit Authority requires a standard-looking subway station. We went and said we would like something different. And so we built a subway station which reflected the exterior of this arena and which had a green roof, in fact. And it's an architectural piece in and of itself. And the other part was, the idea was to walk out and see the front door. Unlike most arenas, this arena has a real front door. Most arenas are round or oval. You can't tell where you are. It's very simple to find out. It's also very tight and concise, so that particularly when there's an artist here, what you'll find is it feels like you're in a theater, not like an arena. Mm-hmm. Acoustics were specially worked out. The acoustics are very, very good. This is really, again, this is built around the customer, and that's really what we have to do. You know, I thought was exciting also is that it's fantastic to be inside the building, but even when you're on the street or you're in the plaza, you can still look inside. And we can even see the scoreboard from the outside. I mean, that was all intentional as well? Very intentional, and I have to say, the idea that you could, 1, come in from the street and be on the main concourse without going up a single step, and 2, be able to look at the scoreboard was very intentional. And the idea that if you sit in the lower bowl, you go down. If you sit in the upper bowl, you go up, so that you wind up being able to get in and out very, very fast. That was very important. And then the idea of transparency.
The goal here was to make this as transparent as possible. So around the entire exterior, you'll see windows and your ability to look inside. And so that was also the idea. We're in an urban area. It's a little bit different. Although I think, even if you're in a suburban or a more rural area for an arena, it is such a mistake the way these are done. If you're in a suburban area where there's might be beautiful trees, beautiful grass, why not expose that? Why not feel like you're part of where you are? Instead, there's a tendency to build public stadiums, arenas, in a way that they're unto themselves. And that's just wrong. And so here, being an urban opportunity was even more important. You want to have the sense of urban, cars going by, the sense of really being part of it. And the interior was done that way too. The interior was meant to have the same feeling as almost like a streetscape with almost a wet sidewalk or wet street. At least that was the thinking. It was made to look urban. You would not design the same arena if you were doing a suburban arena or an arena in a more rural area. It would be a very different arena. This was meant to be a little bit gritty on the outside in terms of the steel. Was meant to have this urban feeling, colors, so on.